And we're back. Mike Cernovich, DangerandPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. Deep State keeps shutting me down because I'm speaking the truth. Tonight we're going to talk a deep lesson about the media. Felix. The Wall Street Journal went after Felix. And what a lot of people have to appreciate is that if the Wall Street Journal went after anybody else in the mainstream, your life is over. Forget about it. If you worked for the Trump administration, you would be fired. That's it. If you had a real job, you're fired. That's it. But that is not the future. The Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Boston Globe, CNN is not the future. The future are YouTube stars. The future is social media. The future is more people under 30 trust Felix than they trust the Wall Street Journal. The implications of this can simply not be overstated. Hold on, let me see if I have my Twitter link going out here. I want to make sure everybody's on the right link. No, so we don't have it out yet. So I'm going to tweet it out for you guys. Yeah, people don't understand. This is where people are messing up, right? This is where people are messing up, and a lot of people with no vision, people with no vision always want to argue with me. Why? Because they see where life is today. They don't have the vision to see where life is going to be in the future. The future is social media. You will have more power if you have a big social media presence, if you have a big YouTube, if you have a big Twitter, a big Periscope, big Facebook, a big whatever the next big thing, you will have more power than media outlets, right? Somebody goes, I retweet you to get 35,000 impressions. Exactly. If I retweet somebody on Twitter, 50,000 views. 50,000 views. So I'm kind of in a half-hearted joke, but also kind of half serious. Suggested that Trump say something about the Felix drama. Right? How the fake news media, they framed this kid. They completely outframed him. I didn't realize what an outrage it was until today, because I don't have time to fact check every story. The Wall Street Journal used to be something that I would kind of respect or kind of believe. And they took a thing, I can't even do it now because they'll frame me. They took a thing where the guy had his arm stretched out, Felix had his arm stretched out, so I'm not even going to show it on camera because they'll do it to me next. He had his arm stretched out, and then they said that he was doing a Nazi salute. He was just stretching out. This is the Wall Street Journal. And you know what happened is that, though? The youth, and YouTube skews liberal. The youth Generation Z, they're being called, skews liberal. They're all pro-Felix. They don't believe the Wall Street Journal. They don't believe any of that stuff. And what's happening is that the future is on social media. Felix is the future. The YouTube people are the future. He's fighting for free speech. So I'm kind of kidding around, but I'm kind of serious that I don't know that Trump should actually tweet about the whole Felix thing and the fake news. I don't know because it could cause a lot of drama. So I don't know that he actually should necessarily, but this is how you got to start thinking. This is how the new right think. This is how people like me think. I'm 39. And I'm not thinking about how can I get good media coverage in CNN. I'm not thinking about, I'm going to send a press release to the Wall Street Journal. I'm not thinking about trying to get in the New York Times or Washington Post or care what they say. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about who on YouTube is the new media. Who on YouTube is the new news, right? That's the future. If I ran for Congress, I was going to have what's called a Big Brother house. It would have been like nothing. You'd have to have a lot of personality to pull it off. That's why I can give the idea away freely. I'm not worried about Republicans stealing my idea because they don't have the charisma to pull it off. I was going to run, if Dana Rohrabacher had been appointed to Secretary of State, I was going to run for his congressional seat in a 10-way race. Here is my game plan. Tell me if this is crazy. Tell me if this is crazy or not. I'll give you my blueprint. I was going to move in my entire campaign staff into a house, big rental house, Big Brother type campaign house, 24-hour live stream in the living room, 24-hour live stream in the living room, Periscope, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you name it, 24 hours, people just hanging out, talking, giving their ideas, giving interviews, people coming in, talking to people, right? Wouldn't be expensive. Just get a house. You get a house and you move. If you have a campaign staff, they got to live somewhere anyway, right? Yeah, hit the thumbs up if you like this. We're building up the YouTube. Why are we building up the YouTube? Because the data is all about internet. I can afford the internet, right? I can afford the internet. So, but again, that is not vision, guys. Vision. See, I'm showing you how a visionary thinks. Do you see how people who aren't visionaries think? And I don't want to put anybody on blast. I don't want to be a jerk or whatever. But are you seeing how I think as a visionary versus how people who aren't visionaries think? Well, Mike, the data stream would be expensive and your camera might break, and what if the thing disconnects, and what if people, everybody's got 100 different objections. Where a visionary is just thinking, I'm going to have a Big Brother style house, stream everything all at once, and then I'll figure out how to pay the data. That's why people fail in life. People talking about data streams. I'm talking about running for Congress. People are talking about an internet bill. How is that mindset holding you back in your life? How is that mindset holding you back in life? Are you raising obstacles and objections to every idea you have? Are you thinking, I have this idea, but, and you raise objections, you disqualify yourself, right? Make the world tell you no. This is the way I live. I'm going to make the world tell me no. I'm going to have my ideas and my vision and my plans, and I'm going to make it happen. The world's got to reject me. I'm not going to reject myself. Most people reject themselves. Most people reject themselves before they ever even take a risk. They go, I can't do that because of 10 reasons, right? I don't think that way. I think here's what I'm going to do. And then life has a way of punching back. That's one thing you'll learn in life. Life is going to punch me back. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong about that. Life will punch you back. But that isn't how I think. I don't think, what if life punches me back? Life's going to punch you back anyway. If you do nothing, life is going to punch you. Here's what people don't realize, especially if you're younger. Especially if you're like 15, 16, 17. That's why, I don't want to abuse you. Maybe you didn't have a strong father figure in your life. I don't want to be mean. But you're going to get older. And age is a punch in the face, man. Age is a punch in the face. Wait till you get your first gray hair. You'll always remember when you get your first gray hair. And you think, oh man, am I going to die today? And then you got to work through it, So life is going to punch you in the face anyway. So why in the world would you punch yourself in the face with negative talk and negative outlook on life, bad vibes, bad aura, objections in your own head? Because you're going to get punched. That's what people don't understand. If you do nothing, here's the way you got to look at life. If you do nothing, you're going to get punched in the face. If you do something great, you're going to get punched in the face. There's no escape, right? So you can be the nothing who's punched in the face, who now has nothing in life and is beat up. Or you can be the guy who has something in life and you're a little bit less beat up. It's kind of nice. I get beat up a lot at my current stage in life. I get hit a lot. It ain't easy being me. But you know what? I got enough nice stuff that it's fine too. But when you got nothing in life beats you up, then you're in big trouble. So trust me, just a gorilla mindset tip for your life. You're going to get punched in the face anyway. So you might as well get punched in the face seeking greatness, going to get what you want to do. Back to the Big Brother house. Big Brother house running for Congress. Big Brother house, live campaign staff, 24/7 a live stream in the living room. Talking, strategizing, plotting. Big phase. What else are we going to do? The social media strike force with GoPros. Everybody we run against going to be followed around by people with GoPros and periscopes. 24/7 paparazzi. Social media paparazzi. What about this? What about this? What about that? Everywhere they go, they're going to be driving crazy. Because me, I'm used to it all the time. You can put a camera right here. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Other people aren't used to that kind of scrutiny. Showing up to their bit, stalking them legally. Of course, it'll all be legal. Stalking people legally. GoPros. Everywhere you go. I'll have GoPros everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, just... You probably couldn't do it there. It'd look a little bit too weird. But you'd have GoPro everywhere you go. Talking to me live stream. The connection. And that we'd win. I would have won. I'd be on my way to... If Dana Rohrabacher had been named Secretary of State, then I'd be on my way to Congress, 2018. As it is, I'm not going to be going to Congress in 2018? Most likely, but I can help get some other people elected, for sure. But the youth, the people under me, though, this is all very natural to them. The ideas that I espouse, that people who are my age or older, they can't comprehend it. Like, what do you mean you would have a YouTube? What if you say something stupid? But what you got to realize with the young people is they don't really care. They want an authentic human connection. And this is the big change, that if you only get one thing out of this, if you only get one thing, people today, especially younger people, they want authenticity more than they want polished talking points. They want real. And they know that sometimes you're going to say things wrong and you're going to get it wrong. People are very forgiving. They want a human connection, a three-dimensional person. Completely different. Now, you couldn't run a campaign like this and say, like, Scottsdale, Arizona, or somewhere. You couldn't run it everywhere. But in the right district, you definitely could. And you would win. This is what people want. And most people don't understand it, especially the younger people. The youth vote is going to be picked up. The word you're going to hear everywhere, authentic. 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 How to be your authentic self. Who is right? That is the authentic candidate. You're going to hear it from me first. I'll just predict it for you, just like I predict everything else. You're going to hear in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, there's going to be big articles called The Authentic Candidate. And it's going to be based on who has the most connection and who connects most with their people. Hillary Clinton was an inauthentic candidate. Trump was a more authentic candidate. That's why Trump won. That's what people wanted. That's what that's why people forgave him for a lot of the things he did. Because well, that's just Trump being Trump. Think about the implications of that, right? A lot of people, they don't really think, especially in media, because they're not as smart as I am. They don't really think. When people say Trump is being Trump, I know this from mindset coaching. What they're saying is Trump is authentic. Well, that's Trump. Trump's just being Trump. Trump is being his true self, his authentic self. And we respect this, right? We respect this. That is what we value, and that is what people want. People want authenticity. They want human connection. And it's going to get more, it's going to be more like this, right? It's going to be more and more common. So Hillary Clinton, she had no authenticity at all. So nobody cared. There's no human connection. Some guy went on stage today, hugged Trump. The guy was almost crying. Think about it. Could you imagine anybody crying when they met Hillary Clinton? Let's just be, I don't care if you're a liberal or a Democrat. Can you imagine anybody meets Hillary Clinton? They don't feel any kind of connection to her at all. Cyborg Hillary, exactly. 100% fake. Cyborg Hillary. So Trump was authentic, but there's more. Trust me, there are people, there are people that could have won in this election. There are definitely people who could have won in this election. And that is definitely the future. The Democrats, they don't really get it. The Democrats don't get it. They're still fake. They're still fabricated. And the Republicans, they don't really get it either. They are fake. It's fabricated. There's no connection. That's why these one-on-one periscopes are so... Why do you think Felix, I'll call him Felix, his YouTube name is PewDiePie, right? Something like that. Felix will call him. So Felix has a human connection. All these people in the fake news media go, how can this guy make so much money? All he does is plays video games. No, he talks to people. He interacts with them. That he reads your comments, responds to your comments, sometimes humorously. I did a bunch of research. I binge-watched him tonight because I didn't know anything about the guy, and I figure if the Wall Street Journal wants to get him fired from his job, then he's probably an interesting guy. So think about that, where there's a human connection. And nobody in politics right now is thinking about a human connection. None are. They're all still in that mindset of the prefabricated talking point. Limited government. I support limited government. I support, what does that even mean? Free markets. Oh, wow. For example, and this is even with the big money, I was trolling this hashtag. Trolling isn't the right word. I was posting this hashtag. We'll just do a real experiment in real time. If I had a tech. By the way, hit the like button. We're building up the Facebooks. We're building up all this YouTube. But there's a conference going on called something like the International Students for Liberty. I don't know, but the hashtag is ISFLC17. ISFLC17. There's all these multi-million-dollar think tanks, right? All these multi-million-dollar think tanks. And if you scroll into hashtag, they couldn't get their hashtag trending. On Twitter, they're getting like 5 retweets. I just saw a picture. If you click on a hashtag, there's a picture of a pretty blonde girl, and it got 2 likes, 5 retweets. Or 2 retweets, 5 likes. So this conference, the IS, whatever it is, I forgot it already. If you're a pretty blonde girl on here, you're going to get 2 retweets, 5 likes. What is that about the think tank mindset in Washington, D.C., right? These right-wing conservative think tanks is, you can be a pretty blonde girl, go to this conference, cost millions of dollars, going through these things, and you're going to get 2 retweets, 5 likes. That's where we are. There's no organic interest because there's no human connection. Everybody, this is true of all, they want to lecture you. They don't really talk to you. And this is to their own peril. Scott Adams, yeah, you can do YouTube and Periscope at the same time. You can do both. I know the deep state, they keep shutting down my streams. My upgrade time is way strong enough. The deep state, though. The deep state, they want to keep shut. They don't want us talking about the truth here. This is the reality. They're trying to stop us. But you know what? We're not going to let them stop us. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do more on that. We'll explore these principles in more detail. Yeah, definitely we'll explore these in more detail. But you'll see. Yeah, more detail, because this stuff is important. If you're thinking about the future and not the present, then this is important. People aren't thinking, this is the way you're going to learn most people think. Most people, they tell you what you can't do today based on yesterday's ideas. They can't tell you the future, 5 years, 10 years, right? That is the way they think. Their objections are all raised by what they think is possible based on the way people think today. I don't think what is possible by the way, I think what's the future headed. Right? The future, where's the future? That's what I tell you, I predict it. The future is more human, yes, we're live, I think we're live. More human interaction, more personal connection. You know what I told people? People thought I was, people always say I'm crazy. Lose the green screen, I know, I'm in a small home studio, guys. And if I fold it up, it's going to get wrinkled. I'm going to be on Alex Jones on Tuesday. So you'll be able to watch me and AJ on Tuesday. The green screen, we're doing it, whatever. Like I said, I live in a small house. Why? Because I like to have liquidity. So the point is this. Yeah, the shill's left. The point is this. If you wanted to run for president, you would build a blog and a podcast and a YouTube. And when I tell people that, they think I'm crazy. I go, no, you would build a why? So you can reach people directly. And when I tell people that, believe me, the people I've met, the money, if there's a reason some days I seem cranky, I'll tell you, well, I'm not cranky now. If I seemed a little cranky, back around the election, I'm going to tell you why. If you knew some of the people that reach out to me and want my advice, I mean, we're talking, it'd blow your mind, right? And I talk to these people, and they just don't get it. And I don't have patience for stupidity. I don't care if you're a high level in the campaign. I don't care if you're high. I don't care what your level is. I don't have time for stupidity. So these people be like, Mike, what should Trump do? And you know what I said? You know what I said the day before the election? They didn't follow this advice. They still won. Good for them. You know what I said? I said, you can create a news cycle and dominate the news cycle just by doing live streams. And I said, Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Don Trump Jr. should all live stream simultaneously about their days. And they go, well, why, Mike? Why should they do that? Why should they do that? And I said, because then that is all the media is going to talk about. And if you get the media talking about one thing, then they're not talking about something else. This is an issue of focus. Guerrilla focus is covered in guerrilla mindset. If you can get the media talking about one thing, then by definition, they're not talking about something else. So if you can just get everybody bombarding the media with some topic, then that means they're not talking about something else. I'll give you, for example, spirit cooking. How many people, the spirit cooking story, I took a pretty big hit with that. People go, Mike, I can't believe you ran with it. And I said, oh, really? You can't? Some very, very, important people with the campaign, maybe. I'm not going to say because I don't snitch. But we'll just say some very important people go, Mike, the spirit cooking story was off the rails. And I said, oh, really? And I said, well, here's my question for you, good sir, ma'am. Was the Washington Post writing about how my spirit cooking story was crazy? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay, dum-dum, then what weren't they writing about? They weren't writing Trump hit pieces because they were playing defense to my offense. I make the media play defense to my offense. And then he goes, oh, okay, oh, I kind of get it now, Yeah, you idiot, you can't think conceptually. Conceptually is if you can get the media chasing whatever story you want them to chase, even if they're calling me names, then they're not hitting Trump. That's the whole point. Sometimes you wonder, do people just don't know how to think strategically? If I get you talking about A, you're not talking about B. If I get you talking about B, you're not talking about A. If I can get you focused on B, you're not focused on A. Basic. In life, you can only focus on one. It's called unintentional blindness. Is the actual cognitive bias. It's unintentional bias or unintentional blindness. You can only focus on one thing. You can only focus on one thing. So I'm going to choose what you're going to focus on. I'm not going to let the other people, right? I'm not going to let the media force me to focus on something. And if you adopt this as a conceptual model, then everything I do makes sense. And Trump had a misstep. General Flynn, they scalped Flynn. Well, they wouldn't have scalped Flynn if Trump had been doing rallies. If Trump had been doing rallies like I told them to do it, and if Trump had been doing live streams and periscopes and YouTubes and everything else, the media never would have scalped General Flynn. Why? Conceptual model. If they're covering the rallies, then they're not covering the fake news about Flynn. But if you don't have that, if you don't really understand human beings and human thinking at a deep level, then none of this really makes sense, right? So the conceptual level is, I'm going to dictate what you're going to talk about. Because the media is going to, every day you have to look at it this way. Every day the media is going to talk about something. They're going to talk about something. They can talk about what they want to talk about, or they can talk about what we want them to talk about. Right? They are going to talk about something, though. So either they pick the topic or we pick the topic. My mindset is that we pick the topic. We don't let them decide what they're going to cover. We're going to pick the topic, and we'll just keep coming at it and coming at it and coming at it and coming at it. If the media bashes Trump, what he should be doing, rather than have Sean Spicer answer questions, go do a Facebook Live, and now they have to cover the Facebook Live. So this is all, and again, it sounds simple, but for apparently a lot of people in the White House can't figure it out. Finally, they listened to me, and they held a rally. And then Trump went after the fake news media again, which he did a press conference where he just smashed the media and he did a rally. So when he does that, when they do what I tell them to do, you know what? Surprise, surprise. When they actually do what I tell them to do, what happens? The whole narrative changes. And it isn't complicated. Get the media. The media is going to talk. Make them talk about what you want them to talk about. You dictate the agenda, but the mindset is that you have to really, I don't want to talk about Mike Pence, that's for sure. The reality is you have to be very aggressive, and Trump's media people and social media people are not aggressive enough. They should be feeding memes down the pipeline. I've talked about this before. They should be feeding memes to Bill Mitchell. Bill Mitchell should be a director of social media outreach, and he should talk to the Twitter people every day and just rally the troops with pro-Trump messaging all day. That would be the best investment they could do, right? They still don't get it. They still don't fully get it. And that's fine, but that's why I work for myself, because I don't work with people who can't get it fast. You either get it fast or you're out of my life. Talk to people who have worked with me. right? I'm like, do this, this, and this. Here's how to do it. You can't figure it out quick enough on your own, then I'm sorry, you got to go, because I move fast. I don't have time for the slow. I don't have time for the weak. There are other people who do. Yeah, so that's the issue is, no, Scavino does a good job. He did a good job during the campaign. But he's not active enough on pushing the messaging on Twitter. And you need somebody who's good at it, like Bill Mitchell. Again, I don't want the job, I wouldn't take the job. So yeah, you definitely want to get the other people, hitting it hard, messaging the messaging has to get out every day, right? So yeah, and what did Trump do, by the way? Who remembers that the Pussygate video, right? Who remembers the Pussygate video? Good night, Michael W. Remember when everybody thought Trump was over, and I go, Trump needs to do a YouTube live. Trump needs to do a YouTube live and just hit it hard and hit back on the media. And people go, Mike, this is a bad idea. He's got to do a press conference. Again, people argue with me, right? People argue with me. They don't know anything, though. They're not visionaries. So what happened? Well, Trump compromised. He released a video live to the people. So rather than go on to the media, the fake news media, go on CNN and let them try to checkmate him or anything, he just did a 2-minute and 30-second video. And he released it directly to the people. And it completely changed the game. Anybody, right? That's the way you got to work. Now, if I had been him, he waited too late at night to do it. He still won, so, you can't. But you still want to learn from even when things go well. Which is, he should have done that earlier in the day before the narrative could have set. Because by the time he did it, at night, the narrative had already kind of solidified, and then it's still a little bit... What you want to do is you want to strike when there's still chaos. It's kind of like this. If you see 5 people coming after you, this might sound counterintuitive. If you see 5 people coming after you, you know what you should do? You should just run and smash one guy in the face before they have time to jump you. Because once they're organized 5-on-1, you're in a lot of trouble. 5-on-1, but when there's that chaos, people don't really know what's going to happen. Then you got problems, right? So when the media comes out with the fake news media narrative, you want to get there when there's still chaos. The media, the story hasn't fully been solidified, hasn't been galvanized. And then you hit early, and then you hit your talking points hard. But you want to get right there, right as the story is breaking. That's the power of YouTube. I mean, think about, this is the power of YouTube and social media, if YouTube's big. Imagine a big hit piece. We've dealt with it. I got hit pieces last year. So imagine a big hit piece drops on a candidate, right? It will for me when I run for office. Fake news will come after me. Within 30 minutes, I'll have my talking point, and I'll be going live on social media to the people. I won't be trying to get on CNN to explain myself. Within 30 minutes, I'll have my response, I'll have my talking points, and then people will be like, wait, what even happened? Because instead of focusing on the fake news stuff, they're going to be focused on what I'm saying, and then whatever I'm saying is pushing my message, right? That's the way you have to think, is within 20 or 30 minutes, you're going live direct to the people, rather than letting them get the jump on you, let that media narrative set in, and then maybe you can go on their show where they can control you, where they can edit you. You got to go. So within 30 minutes, you can be live. That's the amazing thing. There's no more, that's the OODA loop, right? So there's no waiting around now to hold a press conference. You just say, all right, I got hit. Here are my talking points. Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, Snapchat, 5 cameras. You better have good Wi-Fi. Here we go, live. Boom. Live right before the people. And then they're like, wait a minute, that's not how it's supposed to, because you're disrupting now the media messaging. You got to think, because a lot of things that I do seem random, but I have deep conceptual models. And the deep conceptual model is to understand the media model. The media's model is that they say something about you. You respond to them on their platforms. Think about what kind of deal that is in life. Hey, I'm going to trash talk you and sell advertisements based on trash talking you. And then I'm going to have you come on my show, and then I'm going to censor you and edit you, and I'm going to sell advertisements based on you coming on my show. Good work if you can get it right. Just think about it that way. I'm going to sell ads all day. I'm going to make money all day attacking you, and then you're going to come into my room, my stadium, to fight me. Or Don Lemon will cut your mic like he cut that mic of Paris. Cut a Trump supporter's, Paris is African-American Trump supporter, black supporter, got to cut his mic, right? Because you go in their house. Because Paris has to go, Paris is good. Paris has to go on CNN to get views, right? Paris has to go on CNN to get views. But when you have your own platforms, the media hits you, they hit you, and then rather than waiting 5 hours, right? Rather than wait 5 hours, they hit you within 5 to 15 to 30 minutes at the most. You are now live on your social media streams, completely controlling the narrative, dictating it. That's the power. That's the future of politics. Platforms are the future of political candidates. Everybody who wants to be president now, what are you thinking about if I wanted to be if I wanted to be president, Trump will be in for 8 years. If I wanted to be president in 8 years, you know what my number one priority would be? Build my platform, or as people like to say, brand. My number one priority, if I were going to run for president, that's why I've told people, I go, if you knew anything, I've told this to the haters, I go, if you knew anything, you would say that everything I'm doing is calculated to be president in 8 years. That's what people would think. Because the next president is going to have his own platforms, and he's going to be able to go, Trump did it on Twitter. Video would have been better. Trump is still dependent on conventional TV, and there's a lot of older voters who still watch it, so I get it. Trump should have did more with YouTube, though. There's definitely more that he could have done, and you'd be learning about the blockchain. If you want to be president, you would be. There's a live streaming service that uses the blockchain. It just hasn't really caught on yet. So once we have live streaming on the blockchain, which means it will be uncensorable, then we're cooking. So there's a reason I've been talking more about this. That's why it's interesting a guy mentioned blockchain. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that I'm focused on building platforms, building my brand, and that I've been talking more about the blockchain. Because the blockchain isn't about Bitcoin. The blockchain is about creating an uncensorable internet. People like me need an uncensorable internet. That's the next move. An internet that can't be censored. So a lot of things, if you really can see things at a high level conceptually, everything I do makes complete and total sense. Even some of the drama I do makes sense. But a lot of people they're not really getting it. So you're thinking right now, if you want to be president, you're building your platforms and you're building the blockchain. Because once we got an uncensorable internet, we can do uncensorable periscopes, live streams. There won't be any central server that you can cut off. We can just do them all anywhere, anytime, there's from anywhere. And then VR, we're also talking about VR. What happens in 4 or 5 years where you can come to a Mike Cernovich rally in VR? You're encrypted. Think about this. You are in the comfort of your own home. Comfort of your own home. You want to go to a Mike Cernovich rally, but I'm somewhere else. And you put on encrypted, uncensorable VR. And you're looking around talking to people, just like you're there. Rally started, I stand up, everybody's excited, right? You're there, you're talking to people, you're meeting people. All encrypted, all VR. You think that's not the future? Political rallies via... Who else is talking? Go ahead. Who else is talking about this kind of stuff? Who is talking about the blockchain, political rallies with virtual reality? Right? And then, of course, with Bitcoin too, campaign contributions. Nobody else is talking about this stuff because they're not thinking about the future. They're not thinking about the future. Well, that's what I think about every day, the future. I just don't always share it because I don't want to be, I'm not going to be branded as a technologist or whatever. Yeah, virtual, because we're already, this is already virtual. If you think about it, virtual reality is not an optimal point. Well, yes and no. This is already virtual reality. You are all over the country, all over the world. When I did a Periscope, I went to Republican National Convention in Cleveland, Ohio. and I got my phone out and I live streamed the rally with me in it, and people from all around the world watched it. And when I went to the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia, then everybody, we're already in virtual reality. This is already virtual reality. It isn't a big step now. Exactly. It isn't a big step now to realize now this is already virtual reality light. Pokemon Go was what they called it. What was Pokemon Go called? Augmented reality, I think they called it. Something like that. Right? We're already there. We're already there. And so somebody goes, I'm technically wrong about the blockchain, but conceptually, that's fine. Other people can do the tech. I'm a conceptual thinker more than I'm a philosopher, not an engineer. Right? So I'm a philosopher with big visions and versus somebody who's, more of a make it happen might be the first VI president. Virtual reality president. Yeah, tech is for engineers. Engineers are great. By the way, that isn't to shade engineers. Please come straight back, watch my video, don't know what you're talking about. Do we live in the Matrix? We probably. I mean, if we did or we didn't, how would you know? Uncensorable, yes. Encrypted, no. Well, encryption and the blockchain are two different technologies. I wasn't saying the blockchain was encrypted. I was saying the blockchain was uncensorable. I didn't say... Yeah, I did. So maybe I misspoke or maybe you misunderstood me. But I was talking about two different things. I was talking about the blockchain as a way to stream the stuff. Some of us blockchain developers are watching right now and agree with Cernovich. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of blockchain people follow me because they get it. A lot of people who are about that blockchain life, they realize I'm one of the only people who get it. And then we can even think, hey, from Silicon Valley, how you doing? And we're thinking even bigger. I mean, who is this old douchebag? How dare you call me old? How dare you? So I'm thinking bigger too. I mean, what if you could combine crowdfunding and we could crowdfund a different government, right? In a different country. Costa Rica or somewhere. I mean, you gotta think big. People will be living to 200 a few generations. We'll see about that. People are eating themselves to death, right? So people need to worry about doing some cardio stuff before they worry about living to be 100. First blockchain social to merely make an idiot-proof user interface. It looks, exactly. The biggest thing with the blockchain is that it's very like woo-woo and mystical. I remember when a friend of mine told me, he's like, what do you know about Bitcoin? I go, I don't know how to do Bitcoin. He's like, well, I want to give you some Bitcoin to fund your journalism stuff. And I was like, dude, what about Bitcoin? So then I started to learn and then learn more, and I was like, whoa. It's mind-blowing. When you really, and I don't even fully understand the blockchain. The more you understand the blockchain is the more you kind of understand God. Because the blockchain is everything. When you understand it. And I'm not going to pretend like I fully understand it. But what I understand of it is mind-blowing. Just what little bit I understand, I go, this is the future. How can everybody not see that this is the future? How can, it's like, how I realized why these Bitcoin people, I'd meet them and I always thought they'll talk your ear off, right? Because there's a little, little engineering, a little stuff, but they'll be like, oh my God, have you heard about this and this? And I was like, no, man, Bitcoin, I don't know, man. I don't know anything about that. Just get away from me, right? I blew it off. It's a shame, too. Lord knows. If I knew about Bitcoin, what I know today, man, I hope those of you working on the blockchain bought Bitcoin a while ago. Mike, what's the difference? I didn't see your question. The blockchain is not secure. Prove it. Please mansplain it to us. Well, I mean, with the blockchain, you don't have centralized databases. You have massive, massive, massive networks that sync up with one another. Should you invest in Bitcoin? I don't give investment advice. People say, well, there was a There was a conference where somebody found a hack, and they were able to get 20% of the blockchain computers off of the network. There was some big conference. I'd read about that. Sometimes, look, I'm not saying it's perfect, guys. I'm just saying that the future is not perfect. Like everybody, again, it goes back to being a visionary thinker versus raising objections, right? I'm a lawyer by trade. I can raise an objection. I can shit on any idea that you have about anything, right? But that isn't the way you want to think of as a visionary. Now, that's why I don't tell people to invest in Bitcoin. Because if you invest in Bitcoin, I personally have. I'm personally long Bitcoin. But if you invested in Bitcoin and lost a bunch of money, then I feel like a jerk. So I don't tell anybody what to do. I personally am investing in Bitcoin, and I'm going to invest more in Bitcoin. And I'm long Bitcoin, and by long I mean like 30 years long. I don't mean trading. I mean I'm long as in, like, well, people say it's volatile. Well, who cares? Who cares if it's volatile? That's the difference between a trader and an investor, and that's covered in Gorilla Mindset too. Whenever people tell me Bitcoin is volatile, then I know that guy thinks he's a day trader. I don't check my stock prices every day. I couldn't tell you where the stock market is today. Why? Because day-to-day stuff doesn't matter, really. Well, not really. It doesn't matter at all. That's why you don't create a liquidity crisis for yourself by leveraging yourself with homes and everything else, because then you might have to sell off. You might have to sell when the market's low, and then you're screwed. That's why I rent. That's why I rent. F you again. I don't know. Are you pretty? Send me a picture. Then we can talk more. So the difference is that volatility doesn't matter if you're an investor. Volatility only matters if you're a trader. A trader who read some ebook, who now is going to momentum trade and sell up and down until you lose all your money in transaction costs and taxes. I don't make any trades, right? Actually, I just started a new business with a good friend of mine. So I was actually at the bank yesterday opening a new business bank account with a friend of mine, and I put in, a sizable investment, a substantial investment actually, and that isn't a trade. We're going to buy product, fulfill purchase orders, snore, exactly, because you're not intelligent. You don't want to actually learn about real business. Real business is you start a business that you can have for your whole life, that you create value with. It's the same thing with everything I invest in. Warren Buffett even said it. Don't even listen to me. Listen to Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, here's what he tells an MBA student. He goes, imagine you get a punch card. And on that punch card, you can only buy 20 stocks or sell 20 stocks your entire life. You can only make 20 trades. And he's telling this to 25-year-olds. Because when you're 25, you're thinking, man, I got a hot stock tip for you. I'm going to buy Apple and Tesla and Pepsi-Cola, and I'm going to short this stock and short Twitter and covered calls. I'm going to be doing it all, right? You're going to trade all day like a full-time trader, even though that's not your job. Right? So you're thinking, how many, and then people are like, I got a hot tip for you, a hot tip to act on, a hot tip. No, Warren Buffett's general life advice is actually quite good. You're another hater who doesn't really understand this, because he's not giving you a stock tip. It's a life tip, not a stock tip. So you can't watch me now because you're not prepared for the knowledge and the truth that we're about to set. So what if you could only make 20 trades in your life? You could only make 20 trades in your life. You would think a lot more about it, and you would actually make better decisions because you'd make fewer decisions. The same thing is true of, imagine, and people used to think like this, right? Imagine you want to have children, and you want to get married one day. And they tell you that you can only sleep with 10 girls, and once you sleep with 10 girls, curse is going to happen to where you'll never fall in love and you'll never be able to have a kid, right? So you'll never in your life be able to fall in love, and you'll never in your life you'll be sterile. It's like some kind of voodoo thing. Just follow me with the thought experiment. Well, if you did that, then you would think long and hard about every person you met, the kind of time you invested with them. Yeah, some of you don't want kids, so it's a different thought experiment for you, right? But most people do, especially most women. If you thought about life that way and you thought each person I'm with could bring me closer to the end, then you're going to be more conscientious and you're going to make better choices. Same is true with any kind of thing in life. Is people always want to, do hundreds of deals all the time. Blockchain will enable individual users to perm block and set rules in relation to other users, blocking users with auto triggers. Yeah, and I'm still learning about blockchain. There's ways to trigger conditions that trigger other things. So you can explain that to people. So you can now program conditions now within the blockchain. So if something happens at one point, then another event is going to be triggered completely independent of that. So you can create escrow, trust. There are a lot of different things that you can do that are going to be more trust-based. It's pretty, like I said, pretty mind-blowing. What are the Chinese hoarding? I don't know what the Chinese are hoarding. Yeah, a lot of people are triggered. A lot of people are triggered. Definitely, Mike, what is better? Zcash. Zcash is better than the rest. So you're an amateur. You're trying to catch me in a little. You're doing that. Here's what I've learned about Bitcoin people, and this is why Bitcoin is failing in the network effect, because Bitcoin people are not necessarily the most socially savvy people in the world. Bitcoin is still suffering from a network effect. So when some guy like Mike Cernovich, who has a big name, big brand, starts talking about Bitcoin, people don't say, wow, that's really cool. This guy Cernovich is into Bitcoin. Maybe we can talk to him about it, educate him about it. No, they want to be like, what is the best Bitcoin, and do you really understand it, right? They try to do like trivia. They try to like trivia to show he's not a real, true Bitcoin guy. And that's why then people are like, why isn't Bitcoin catching on? Why isn't it catching on? Well, because network effects, genius. You need what are called influencers, as much as you might hate the term. You need influencers. Oh yeah, the Bitcoin people are the ultimate. The ultimate. They get mad at you. Bitcoin people get mad at you because they're like, how dare you not know every minutia about cryptocurrencies, and don't call Bitcoin, call it a cryptocurrency. And I'm thinking this is a network effect issue. So then they wonder, well, why don't more people talk about it? Why are more people interested? Because then you have a bunch of people spazzing out about you. Purity testing, exactly. Yeah, that's the issue. It's a purity test, and that is how you end a movement. You end a movement by trying to especially with me, because I don't care. What will you do, catch me? Because I don't pretend to be Mr. Bitcoin expert, right? So I don't pretend to be some kind of Bitcoin expert. So you're not going to oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I don't know everything about it. That's just a life tip, though. A life tip, because the reason I don't tweet about Bitcoin anymore. So you know why I don't tweet about Bitcoin anymore? Because it attracts a bad crowd. It's the same reason I don't tweet about girls much. It attracts a bad crowd of people who just want to spaz out that you're actually not knowledgeable about Bitcoin. It's the same thing as if you talk about girls. They'll say, well, how can you talk about girls? This other girl's hotter or that other girl's hotter. They're just negative people. So that's why I don't talk about it much. Which is fine, but then when people wonder why it isn't catching on, well, it's because of the network effect, right? Because if I were talking about Bitcoin regularly, then that's going to filter up to the Trump administration. You would think that people who are into Bitcoin would want Trump's people thinking about Bitcoin and being involved in it in a positive way. You'd think. But they don't. They want to be angry and do cartoon simplicity. Exactly. It's the same reason with the blockchain. People don't really understand it. And they want to make it mystical. You know why Windows became a hit? I did MS-DOS back when I took computer Good night, John. I did MS-DOS back in the day, right? C, // :4, whatever. So long ago. Just point and click. That was Windows. Make it so that you don't have to know all the MS-DOS shortcuts. That's all it is, right? Then Windows Then Windows happened. So now with blockchain, people don't want to make it accessible, and that's just your own problem. Windows got big because of marketing. No, they didn't. It got big because it's intuitive. The same reason people spaz out on me for using an iPhone. People go, Mike, why do you use a Mac and an iPhone? Because it works. Well, yeah, but you could run a such and such processor and you could save more. Yeah, bro, if I spend a bunch of time building up a computer, I could have used that time to make so much more money than I just saved building up this woo-woo-woo computer. That the amount of time I just spent doing all that nonsense. Now, if people like it, and that's your hobby, good for you, right? I'm all for it. I'm not mocking you if you like to make computers. But when you spaz out because people don't like me, don't want to spend 20 hours reading about computer components to save a few $100 to build this quote-unquote better machine, that's where emotional intelligence and social awareness comes in. You realize, like, yeah, he's not into that. It's not his thing. Cool. Who cares? So people are like, oh, you use an iPhone. Yeah, why? Because when I pick it up and I touch it, it works. It's intuitive. Right now, blockchain isn't intuitive. And if you want anything to catch on with people, you need to make it intuitive. And they go, oh, but people are too stupid. This is the line I like. If people are too stupid, people aren't too stupid. People are busy. 3:30 your time, I should go to bed too. People are busy. If you stop thinking about people as stupid, and you just think they're too... Because if you're a computer guy, and you started talking about law to lawyers, you sound pretty stupid. I have some bad news for you engineers. We lawyers love to make fun of engineers. Why? Because an engineer thinks that they read one chapter of a statute, and they'll go, I know the law, but the statute says that. And they look like complete buffoons. Because they think they can read one statute and not realize that statutes are interpreted by judges and by different courts, and their definitions and the cross-reference to other statutes, and there's a whole corpus of law. But engineers like, we're smart, we're so smart, smarter than everyone else. But you talk about law, you sound really dumb. Well, it's not that you're dumb, it's that you're too busy to learn the law. So when other intelligent people are trying to learn about technology, then you should not think these people are stupid. You should think, well, these are intelligent people, and they're busy, so why don't I find a way to help them in their busy lives? Best basic. Hit the like button. Hope the Ninth Circuit gets abolished. As a lawyer, I can tell you it won't. As an engineer, yeah. Engineers, they're really great. An engineer will know more about the law than a lawyer with 50 years experience, because they'll read some subsection of the tax code, and they'll tell you that you really don't know the law, man. The law, they get real angry too, because they're so smart. They're so superior. More superior than everyone else. They know everything. And boy, just look at that. They're so smart. It's hilarious. No, they do. They literally point at the law book. Or they'll copy, that was a little dated because, it's less law books. Now it's more they'll copy and paste from the internet. It's unbelievable. Bro, young people love you. I love young people too. What's this have to do with your report? I don't know. We talk about a lot of things. You watch Danger and Play Mike Cernovich Gorilla Mindset Periscope, and we talk about PewDiePie, Felix, we talk about fake news, we talk about my running for Congress, the Big Brother house, the future of the internet, virtual reality, we talk about it all. Why? I don't know what the hell else you can do. My daughter's asleep. My dog's right here. I took him for a hike. How old are you? 39. Are you with the Pews? Of course I am. PewDiePie did nothing wrong. Twitter versus Google, they're both different. I mean, if you had to prove, if I had to choose, I'd choose Google. You need the attention. That's why I use PewDiePie. I definitely don't need the attention. I don't need... Mike, any thoughts on the HOTEP plus alt-right alliance? Yeah, it's interesting. So the HOTEP is a pro-black nationalist movement, pro-black identity movement, and the alt-right is a pro-white identity movement. And the HOTEP and alt-right, they're uniting. And you know what that means? I'll tell you what that means. What does it mean if the HOTEP and the alt-right unites? I'll tell you. It means the feds are going to break it up. Why? Because you cannot have white and black people uniting. If white and black people united, the feds are going to be all up in this. The last thing in the world the media, the system wants, the minute racist white people and racist black people, they sit down and they just talk and they go, you know what, maybe we all are. Let's just figure something out. The minute the blacks and the whites just sit down and say, you know what, we're just all whatever. Let's just sit down and figure out a solution. Then it's over. Then it's over. Then they're going to start looking at the people who control things. Right? So if you get the blacks and the whites looking at who really controls things and the moneyed interests and everything else like that, oh man, so the feds, the minute it looks like white and black people are going to unite is the minute you can expect a lot of feds looking into a lot of things, trying to break things up. That's the reality. Yeah. Drain the swamp. I agree. All right, so I'm going to get going. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit subscribe. My professor mentions you in class and goes to your Twitter. Yeah, there's a few who do that, actually. A few professors have used my Twitter as an example of how to do social media right. So be sure to subscribe. Hit you already did. Thank you very much. Thank you for hitting it. Yeah, we're building up the YouTubes. Why? Because I want to have, I don't know, what's a good number? What's a good goal for 2000? How many subscribers should I have a goal for 2000 vision? How many subscribers should I have on December 31st, 2017? I have 19,000-ish right now. So how many subscribers should I have December 31st, 2007? Because I'm really going all in now on this. I'm really going all in on YouTube. So we'll see. People are saying 50 to 100, 300,000. Yeah, we'll see. 500,000. I don't think 500,000 is realistic. 50,000 is realistic. 50,000 is, I think 50,000 is easily attainable. 50,000 is not thinking big enough. 100,000 I think is about right. I should be doing 100,000 by the end of the year. But we'll see. Make sure you hit the bell so you get the notifications. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Mike Cernovich, DangerPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset. I'm going to have YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to do daily YouTubes, actually. I'm going to be doing them every day. Every time Nestor, he's been building up his YouTube, by the way. Strong YouTube game. Every time I do a YouTube live, it tells me how many subscribers I gained. And I screen cap it and I track it. This is a very, very, very important life tip, by the way. You want to, what gets measured matters, right? So every time I do a live stream, I say how many subscribers did I gain? What went right? What went wrong? So, oh yeah, by the way, so subscribe, hit the like button. I want to hit 200 likes before the video closes. I'm at 197. Yeah, monetizing the stream, I don't really make my money. So I actually turned off monetization, and YouTube turned it back on. And then I turned it off, and then they turned it back on. So YouTube, I don't monetize. YouTube, I just want a big platform. I don't even care if I sell a book off of YouTube. If at the end of the year I have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, if at the end of the year I have 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and I don't sell a single ad, and I don't even sell a book because of it, but I have 100,000 subscribers, then I'll be happy, definitely, for sure. So anyway, I'm gonna go, but I'll be doing another one. Tomorrow. So we're gonna be doing YouTube videos almost every day. Thanks for tuning in. Mike Cernovich, DangerPlay.com, Gorilla Mindset.